Hey friends, welcome to Thus Saith the Lord. I'm Gene Lloyd and I've got another great biblical interpretation for you today. Have you ever heard someone say, God owns the cattle on 1,000 hills so he can provide for you? Have you ever wondered how they connected that verse with this assertion that it's about provision? Stay tuned for a few moments and you'll get to hear my take on this one. Okay, so the verse in question is Psalm 50, verse 10, and this is what it says. For every animal of the forest is mine, and the cattle on 1,000 hills. So what does this mean? What is God talking about? Well, before we go further, please take a minute, like, subscribe, follow, help me build this channel out. I want to get this content into as many homes as possible, to as many people as possible, so help me out and hit all of those buttons. Okay. Do me a favor really quick. If you've ever heard someone share this verse and then connect it with finances, just wave your hands at me for a second. Okay, I don't know why you're waving because I can't see you. But thanks for participating. Now listen, God can certainly provide for us, right? And we have plenty of Bible verses about his provision, plenty of verses that tell us he can do this. But this is not one of them. This passage in Psalm 50 is not one of them. Now here's a few that we do have. Hebrews 13:5 tells us God will never leave us or forsake us. 2 Corinthians 9:8 tells us God is able to provide us enough and more to give away. And then in Matthew 6, Jesus teaches us that if God's taking care of the birds, if he's taking care of the grass, of course he's going to take care of us because we are so much more valuable to him. But this passage in Psalm 50, it's nothing to do with provision. It has to do with animal sacrifice, specifically Thanksgiving sacrifice. But in order to see that, like a lot of times, we've got to back up a few verses. We've got to look back and get the fuller context. So let me jump over to my Bible software here, and let's read verses 7 through 11, okay? So verse 7 says this, Hear, O my people, and I will speak, O Israel. I will testify against you. I am God, your God. Not for your sacrifices do I rebuke you. Your burnt offerings are continually before me. I will not accept a bull from your house or goats from your fields. For, here's the key verse, for every wild animal of the forest is mine, the cattle on 1,000 hills. I know all the birds of the air, and all that moves in the field is mine. God's not saying here he's super wealthy. He's not bragging about how much he owns and connecting it to provision for his followers. He's making a point. He's making a point about sacrifice. He's making a point. If we keep reading, we learn that he's talking about a sacrifice of thanksgiving. We know God owns everything. The Bible tells us he owns the entire earth and everything that's in it. Okay? And one of the points I think he's making here to the Israelites is, I don't actually need anything from you. If I'm hungry, I'm not going to go to you to get some food. I'm not coming to you for a cheeseburger. If I'm hungry, I'll get my own food. I don't need it for you. In fact, the idea of sacrifice wasn't created so God could receive something from us because he needs it. It was created for us because we need him. And so God goes on to talk about Thanksgiving and the importance of Thanksgiving. And so that's really what this verse is about, is sacrifice of Thanksgiving. It's not about provision. Okay? So he can provide for us, and he does provide for us. But this is not the verse to use to prove that particular theological point. Sometimes people will take the wrong verse to teach on a topic that's true. Okay? Sometimes we'll have a truth in Scripture, and we'll take the wrong verse to apply to that script, to apply to that truth. So we got to be careful not to just try to find verses that agree with us, and rather we got to really dig into the Scripture and see what it's saying. So let's use the passages that speak about provision to talk about provision whenever we want to teach on that topic, and not these other passages. Okay, if you follow the link below in the description, I've got a free article down there for you about this same passage. I've included some great verses about provision, so you have some good sources for that topic. I also included some historical content about Babylon that adds a little bit more detail and a little more depth to this verse, to this interpretation. So if you want to go a little deeper, go check out that article, okay? Thus saith the Lord. That's my perspective on this passage. And again, I hope you've learned something today. I hope that if this is a verse that you've heard incorrectly before, that now you have the correct interpretation. I'd love to hear your comments. Hey, let me know if you've ever used this verse incorrectly. I know I did when I was younger because I heard other people use it this way. And then I learned how to interpret the Bible and I realized that's not what it actually means. Okay, so let me know. Maybe you've done it too, and we can have a little laugh about it. Let me know if you disagree. I won't be mad at you, but I might push back a little bit, okay? So bring your A game if you're going to disagree in the comments, okay? Leave your suggestions for other passages you don't understand. I'd really like to hear what you'd like me to create next. Okay, see you next time.